Today, we're diving into politics and the explosive news. Joe Biden has officially dropped out of the 2024 presidential race. This move has thrown a wrench into the election cycle, and with just over 3 months until Election Day, the stakes couldn't be higher. In this video, I'll dive into the implications of Biden's withdrawal, the legal challenges it could have potentially raised, if the Democratic Party had not handled it correctly. Well, the Vice President Harris has already gotten more than the required pledged delegates she needs for the nomination. Therefore, no too much drama like many pundits are wishing and predicting since President Biden made the announcement. So, let's get into it. The immediate fallout, legal questions galore. First, let's talk about the immediate fallout. Biden's decision to drop out raises a ton of thorny legal questions. Is it legal for delegates to vote for somebody else? Can Republicans challenge this in court? Maybe, but with no legal precedent. Can Democrats meet the state ballot deadlines? And what happens to all those campaign funds? These are just a few of the questions swirling around right now. And the answer to these questions are emphatically yes. Earlier this year, Joe Biden and Donald Trump won their respective primaries, making them the presumptive nominees for their parties. However, they only become official nominees at their party conventions. Just 40 years ago, the system was different. Republicans and Democrats held primaries or caucuses, but the results were advisory, and the nominees were determined behind closed doors or at party conventions. Now, the primaries determine who wins the presidential nomination, and the conventions are largely commercials for the winning candidates, which in my opinion makes the primary very costly and unnecessarily long. Historical context, challengers at conventions. It's not unprecedented for a president to face a challenger at the convention. In 1980, Jimmy Carter was deeply unpopular with the American people, so Senator Ted Kennedy tried to get Carter's delegates to vote for him. The effort failed, and Carter got curb-stomped by Ronald Reagan in the general election. The last time the Democrats held a convention in Chicago in 1968, it was a disaster. Lyndon B. Johnson was pressured to exit the race because of dissatisfaction over the Vietnam War, and as vice president, Hubert Humphrey didn't compete in the primaries but inherited the delegates that had been pledged to Johnson. Bobby Kennedy had been assassinated months earlier on June 5, 1968, but at the time of the convention in August, he had still amassed 393 delegates. Humphrey had 561, and Eugene McCarthy had 258. The resulting convention was a mess, with states trying to seek competing slates of delegates, protesters clashing with police, and intense debates about the Vietnam War. Eventually, Humphrey was nominated and lost to Richard Nixon in the general election. The legal maze: can delegates switch votes? I'm not going to dive deep into the legal issues because Democratic Party seems to have matured and learned from Chicago 1968 convention. Vice President has secured more than enough delegates to fence off challenges and to be the party's nominee. If Biden had dropped out earlier, it'd have been a different ballgame for Harris and the party, because people would have jumped into the fray and start raising money. But, at this 10th hour, he left people with little or no choice but to support Vice President Harris. Smart move and universal align for Harris. State versus party rules, a legal tug of war. States still have the right to regulate the way political parties select their candidates. For example, Florida state law stipulates that any party rule directing the vote of delegates at a national nominating convention shall reasonably reflect the results of the presidential preference primary if one is held. Biden won the Florida primary, and Florida law is silent on what happens when a candidate withdraws or releases their delegates. Presumably, this means that Florida delegates would follow the rules of the National Democratic Party, but it could be a mess. If Harris was nominated instead of Biden, that would arguably reasonably reflect the results since she was on the ballot as vice president. But if someone wanted to contest the meaning of "shall reasonably reflect the results of the primary," there's always the possibility of litigation. Democratic Party rules for the 2024 convention. What are the Democratic Party rules for the 2024 convention? Delegates are divided into two categories: pledged and unpledged. Pledged delegates have to vote for whichever candidate in their party wins the primary or caucus in their respective state, while unpledged delegates, known as superdelegates, may choose to vote for any candidate in the Democratic Party. Current elected officials and party leaders can support any candidate. In 2024, There are an estimated 4,672 delegates, 3,933 pledged delegates and 739 superdelegates. Back in 2018, the DNC voted to ban superdelegates from voting on the first ballot at a contested national convention. The nominee needs 1,976 delegates to confirm the nomination. Biden won about 3,900 delegates during the primary. If Biden releases his delegates because he's withdrawing from the race, DNC bylaws generally give the DNC the responsibility of filling vacancies in the nomination for the office of president and vice president. Under Article 2, Section 8F of the bylaws, voting to fill a vacancy on the national ticket shall be in accord with the procedural rules adopted by the Rules and Bylaws Committee and approved by the Democratic National Committee. The role of pledged delegates. What if Biden hadn't dropped out of the race? Could pledged delegates have gone rogue and voted for somebody else? The 2024 delegate selection rules state that no delegate at any level of the delegate selection process shall be mandated by law or party rule to vote contrary to that person's presidential choice as expressed at the time the delegate is elected. However, Rule 13J of the delegate selection rules seems to give pledged delegates the ability to vote for somebody else. It states that delegates elected to the National Convention pledged to a presidential candidate shall, in all good conscience, reflect the sentiments of those who elected them. We don't know what constitutes in all good conscience, since these rules have only been in place since 1984. But a delegate could argue that the sentiments of voters in their state have changed and that they no longer want Biden as the nominee. Pledged delegates are probably locked in and can't vote for somebody else unless Biden releases them. But there's also no law that would prohibit the DNC from changing the rules before or during the convention. You can bet that the Republican Party could and probably would file legal challenges to any effort to replace Biden at the convention, though they probably wouldn't have the best arguments if Biden withdraws and releases his delegates and the party nominates somebody else. Republicans might not have standing to challenge that process, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't try. The Ohio problem. Things are even more complicated thanks to Ohio. Ohio has a state law that says a political party certifying candidates so nominated shall certify the names of those candidates to the Secretary of State on or before the 90th day before the day of the general election. The 90-day requirement means that the deadline for ballot certification is August 7th, which is 2 weeks before the DNC convenes in Chicago. This provision has caused problems before. In both 2012 and 2020, both Democratic and Republican conventions were held after the 90-day deadline, and the legislature extended the deadline on both occasions. But this time, it's different. Republicans were angry that some states tried to kick Trump off the ballot for insurrection, so Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRossi, who was in the midst of a primary for U.S. Senate, refused to accept provisional certification. The Republican-dominated Ohio legislature talked tough about not extending the deadline, but LaRossi eventually lost his primary to Trump loyalist Bernie Moreno, and the legislature continued to take its time. Instead of filing a lawsuit, the DNC decided it would hold a virtual roll call nominating Biden-Harris in time for the 90-day deadline before the official convention. Virtual roll call, a preemptive move. This seems to be technically unnecessary because Ohio enacted a law extending the deadline, but Democratic officials smelled a rat. DNC Rules and Bylaws Committee co-chair Minion Moore, who is the chair of the convention, said that they couldn't trust the Ohio legislature, which has proven to be untrustworthy stewards of voting rights. Moore believes that the state might pull a fast one and undo their law to screw Biden over at the last minute. She noted that the law delaying the deadline doesn't go into effect until August 31st, but the DNC confirmed that the virtual roll call would happen, but not before August 1st Street. When this decision was made, there was no significant movement to get Biden to drop out. So, in addition to all the background discussions of Biden's mental fitness, the Democrats are juggling the Ohio situation and the virtual roll call, which is not great. It would have been a mess if Biden had dropped out after the deadline. What happens if Biden drops out after the convention? What would have happened if Biden had been formally nominated at the convention but withdrew, died, or became incapacitated sometime thereafter? This sort of happened once before in modern times. In 1972, vice presidential nominee Thomas Eagleton withdrew from the ticket after reports that he'd been hospitalized due to his mental health. The Democratic National Committee met and appointed a replacement. DNC rules say that the National Committee may fill a vacancy on the national ticket, and the Rules and Bylaws Committee says that in the event of a vacancy, a special meeting of the committee will be called, and it will nominate a replacement candidate by a majority vote. But what if Biden had died or become incapacitated before the deadline for certifying the candidate to the Ohio Secretary of State? Would that mean that Kamala Harris automatically moves to the top of the ticket? If Biden had withdrawn or died before the convention and before the roll call, that would definitely be the case. The presumptive nominee would drop out and there would be a vote for another nominee. It seems as if the DNC could vote to nominate somebody other than Harris, but she's the natural replacement, and it would be hard to see the DNC selecting anybody other than Harris to replace Biden on the ticket if that happens after the convention. Impact on the election, a wild card. Finally, let's talk about the impact this has on the election. Some Democrats feel it might actually help their party's chances. There have been numerous polls suggesting that Americans are not thrilled about a Trump-Biden rematch, and Biden's approval ratings are low, partly due to concerns about his mental acuity. A new candidate might energize the Democratic base and attract swing voters. But it could have backfired spectacularly if the process had not been handled the way it has and very democratically and matured. Conclusion. To wrap up, Joe Biden's withdrawal from the 2024 presidential race is a bombshell that throws the election into chaos. However, it seems to have been well received and handled by Democratic Party chair. What could have resulted in a scramble to meet state deadlines, and the potential for a contentious convention all make for an unprecedented situation. The Democratic Party have navigated the fallout in a very organized and matured adults. What do you think about Biden's decision to drop out? Who do you think should be the new Democratic nominee? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more updates on this developing story.